Hi, welcome to the channel. I'm Robin.
I'm Troy.
And we are in Barcelona, Spain. We have finally made it. We were on a Transatlantic.
From
voyage.
Galveston.
Yeah, 15 nights. Our first ever. If you've ever thought about doing it, we're here to tell you what it was like for us. And we were fortunate enough to experience it with some friends that had both, some friends that had done it before and some friends that hadn't. So
new to the channel.
yeah. So we're here to talk to you about it. So we left out on
May the 1st, Galveston.
Yeah, from Galveston, and that was a great experience. Everything went very smoothly. The weather was not bad, and everybody was really excited to go, I think.
Yeah, it was a good time to get out of Houston.
It really was. Weather in Houston just went crazy after we left.
It knew we were leaving.
Clearly. So, but getting back to, if you haven't seen a previous video that we did, this trip was totally booked by accident. I booked, yes, I did it. I was looking for cruises last year, January 2023. I found this cruise. I'm like, 15 nights to Spain. That sounds amazing. The price was good. I was so excited. I booked it. He sent it out to some friends. They booked it. And then I sent him the itinerary.
Yeah, and then I said, hey, you realize this is a one-way to Spain now. They leave us there.
I did not know that. Neither did our friends. We all booked it. 3 of us did not know. And fortunately, he caught it. And it just kind of went from there. And then we have some more friends book. And then we found out some other friends had already booked. Anyway, so the whole experience that we are going through with the Transatlantic cruise, with the time that we're in Spain, was totally because of a fluke. Because if I would have seen that it was a one-way trip, I wouldn't have booked it. I would have been apprehensive. I would have been scared. I would have thought there's no way I could work and make it happen, and we would be gone too long. So we never would have done this. So all of this came because I didn't notice it was one way. So it's been a great adventure off a fluke. Right?
Yep, for sure.
So let's get into telling you what we think of the Transatlantic overall, and my experiences from working full-time from the cruise ship, and I did a video on that just to kind of detail out some things, but we're going to do an overview on that and tell you what it was like with all the sea days. Because a lot of people kind of freak out about being in the middle of the ocean for so long, right?
Right. I think the first 3 days were sea days? Or?
Yeah, we left Galveston, and then we actually had 2 sea days. So we had the first we were left, so sea day after we left. Second and third were sea days. And if you can't tell, I'm checking my notes down here to just make sure I get this right. And our 4th day was our first port. So
Nassau, the Bahamas.
Yeah, so the first couple sea days felt like a normal cruise because you could have 2 sea days, in a row on a normal cruise. So that didn't feel weird, right?
Not to me.
No, and before this, we had done 11 other cruises. And during that time, we always did round trip, always from Galveston, and come back because it was just so easy. Whenever you live in Houston or you live anywhere near Galveston or anywhere near a port, it's just easy to go out of your home port rather than flying somewhere and dealing with all that drama.
Get there quick, no drama when you're leaving. It's a smooth transition from where you're living to where you're leaving from.
Yeah. So day 4, we were in Nassau, Bahamas, and we'll talk about the actual ports and our experiences in another video and let you know what we thought of all of that. But good weather between there and Nassau, easy trip.
Great weather.
We'd never been there before.
I'm trying to think of any negative days as far as weather was concerned. I don't remember one.
No negative days on weather.
Maybe a little rocky one day, the day that the pool, the water was splashing up out of the pool.
I think that was after Nassau.
Okay, it might have been after. Okay.
So when we got on the ship, we got on pretty easy, and that was a Wednesday. And then Thursday and Friday, I worked full days, both days. And he has to do some work, but his days aren't near as long or structured as mine are. So I worked Thursday and Friday, and then Nassau was on a Saturday, which was great that a port day ended on a Saturday, so we could just take off and really enjoy it. So we did Nassau on Saturday, and then Sunday was another sea day. So that really got us into a long stretch of sea days.
I'm trying to recall. That's what I'm doing. We're trying to recall everything. Trying to recall what day that was, where we went.
So by Monday, that's whenever the seas got a little bit rockier and the Wi-Fi got spottier. So Monday was really, really a rough day for me to work. I had my office in the cabin on these days, the first 3 days, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, and then Monday. And after that, I had to go find someplace else on Tuesday to put my
set up office. Right.
Yeah, to set it up. But we did have to put our bands on. We have these little C bands that we wear and put the little patches on just to make sure. And several of us felt rocky. One of our friends, she was feeling really rough at this point. But the seas really weren't that rough. I think maybe it might have just been also the direction that we were going. Because they didn't. I've been in rougher seas, but the boat was moving around a little bit. Yeah, so it wasn't too bad.
Yeah.
And then so that was Monday. That was Monday the 6th. And then so Tuesday we went Monday sea day, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday,
Long
and then
stretch.
Saturday we got to another port. So we literally went from Sunday to Saturday before we hit port again.
A lot of gambling in the casino.
Oh my gosh, yes. A lot of gambling, a lot of food.
Much food, way too much food.
And let me also preference, if you've never been on Voyager of the Seas, that was the ship that we were on. And it's not one of those high activity ships. It's not a mega ship. It's not a little dinky ship either. It's
like
somewhere
mid-size,
middle
like
of the road.
Right.
It did have one of the rock climbing walls. It did have a flow simulator, just one, and plenty of places to eat and play cards and sit on the deck and pool time and everything. So there was ample, I feel like, for people to do without the ship being too massive. That a lot of people don't like those big ships, especially if they have mobility issues.
You actually had a lot of opportunity to talk and sit with individual people, couples, and have a good conversation, learn where they're from. If this is their first transatlantic, or if they've done them before, how they feel about it. So we got a lot of good information, a lot of good sharing with other folks that are on the ship also.
Which also brings us into a conversation of the different dynamic of people that do these transatlantics versus all the other cruises. Now, we started out, my very first cruise in 2007 was a 4-day cruise. And he did one in, I think, 2008.
Maybe.
Something like that. And then we didn't cruise again until 2018. And then we really got into cruising by like 2021, 2022. But during this time, we started figuring out, because most people, whenever I feel like they get on a ship, they're afraid to take a cruise. What if I don't like it? I don't want to be trapped on a boat, like you're a prisoner or something. So you can't always get off and fly home if it was really that bad. But I think the biggest thing is people try to get into cruising usually a little baby steps, and that's what we did. We started baby steps. But then we started figuring out that we didn't really like the short cruises so much. You get on, you have a very short period of time, and then you get off, and the dynamic of people are more of the party crowd, the people that just want to let their hair down, whatever happens on the cruise ship stays on the cruise ship kind of thing. And that's not really what we're trying to do at this stage of our life, or really, honestly, for me, any stage of my life, not that much. But we're trying to find ways to not just vacation, but to travel while living and working, just move around a lot more. So for us, we didn't want the party crowd. Right. So
we're not drinkers. A lot of people are. A lot of people certainly partake. We don't. Except on a rare occasion, I might have one, not two, just one.
So getting back to the dynamic of the people on the ship. So whenever you're doing a transatlantic like this, 15 nights, rarely do people have the ability to take their kids with them, especially whenever it's not out for school. If this was the middle of summer, that might be different, but because we're going during the normal school years, especially in the U.S., that there's not a whole lot of people that are taking their kids. There were a few kids on the...
I think they said it was a total of 25 teenagers on the entire cruise ship,
and then
which
some
is
of the little ones were there. I think I saw maybe one baby.
Yeah, one...
Stop. Anyways, so you're not going to have a large dynamic of children on these cruises. You're also not going to have even a whole lot of 20, 30 somethings, because oftentimes they can't get away from work. If you work remotely, that's one thing, but a lot of these people, they cannot get away from work that long, or if they've got a 2-week vacation, they don't want to blow all of it on one trip.
A lot of them retired older people.
Yes, retired older people, people that have cruised for years.
Let's be clear, there are some retired older people that do party.
Oh my gosh.
We've ran into quite a few of them.
Some of these people, like they if I drank, which I don't drink, but they could probably drink me under the table, and they're like almost, well, I was going to say twice my age, but I guess at as old as I am now, that's hard to say. I don't know many 104 people.
20 years ago, you could say that.
I couldn't say that 20 years ago. Anyways, so the dynamic of cruisers is going to be really different. So we decided that we didn't like the short cruises already before this trip. We had already resigned ourselves to 7 days plus. That way we got kind of away from the party crowd. Also, the first-time cruisers. Some first-time cruisers are great. Other first-time cruisers don't know cruise etiquette. They don't know how to be on a cruise ship because you're really on a floating city with everybody.
Right.
And it takes a little while for people to learn, just how to be in that dynamic and not impede on other people's space. The longer cruises are typically for people that have cruised at least a few times before. So we'd already resigned ourselves to 7 or more. But now after this trip, 7 definitely is the absolute minimum. But I think we just really kind of fell in love with the dynamic of people that were on this ship because they were engaging and intelligent and fun.
Good conversation, life experiences that they can share that they've had that kind of benefit us.
No drama.
Right.
No drama. Everybody was just having fun. Even in the silent disco. I mean, you're seeing people of all kinds of ages, but people that probably would have been intimidated.
They pop something up on that.
Of us dancing in the silent disco. Yeah, I'll put that around here somewhere.
Another thing, it's crazy how I guess maybe I just know too many people, but oddly enough, I would run into people that I know on this cruise ship that I knew 45 years ago. I hadn't seen in 45 years.
You're like, Troy?
Yeah.
Is that you?
That kind of thing. So just everywhere I go, typically I run into more than quite a few people that I've met over the years.
And he did get recognized from the channel. So apparently, I think it was a couple that I was speaking to, and I mentioned to them about the channel, about how we just started our little teeny tiny channel, and apparently they went up there and they hadn't met him yet. And I guess they went up there and watched some videos while they were on the cruise. And they went over and told him, they're like, "Are you Black Man?"
No, they didn't say that.
Are you sure? Are you sure Black Man and Robin? That wasn't the joke? No,
that's
an inside joke. But apparently they recognized him from the channel. And we thought that was really cool. So first time that's ever happened. And so that was really neat.
Yeah, definitely.
But so the dynamic of people is going to be really, really different on a longer cruise. And then whenever you factor in this one-way transatlantic, because it's a big commitment to get on these. Because it's not just about getting on the ship for 2 weeks.
You got to pack for 2 weeks.
You got to pack for 2 weeks. Then you got to make flight arrangements to come home or wherever your next destination is. Or are you going to get on another ship?
You're going to book a place to stay where you wind up and wait a little while, which is what we did.
It's not the same as just making a round trip and going right back to where you came from. It's a whole nother level of commitment to do this. So, like I said, the dynamic was very different, and we really enjoyed it.
Very much so. Much more than I thought. I knew with everybody that we knew that was going to be on the ship with us.
Yeah, that was
going to probably have a pretty good time. But I'll tell you.
Speaking of which, a couple of our friends, these are their shirts. Here you go. Live Like Friday. And
whatever this is.
I can't adult today. Yeah. So hey, Lawrence. Hey, Becky.
So there's definitely it was a lot of fun based on a lot of the people that we had with us. So it was a good time.
So by the time we got to our second port, which I didn't tell you what port that was, it was, I'm going to try to say this correctly, Ponta Delgada Azores, Azores. It's an island, a chain of islands that belong to Portugal, but is not really close to Portugal. It's kind of in the middle, their side of the Atlantic Ocean. Just out there by itself. And we'll talk about the ports in another video. But that was day 11. So by the time we got to day 11, we'd been to 2 ports, which was Nassau, Bahamas, and then this one, and a whole lot of sea days. So if you're somebody that thinks that you're going to get bored on the sea days, maybe you will, but you got to look at it like the ship doesn't have to entertain you the whole time. You can find ways to comfortably entertain yourself. Bring a book or an e-reader, something that you wanted to read for a while. Get caught up on some other things that you wanted to do that maybe you can put on your laptop. Maybe some work, maybe some school, maybe some research. Whatever it is you do, it's no different than being at home. When you're at home, you don't expect your home to entertain you the whole time, right? I mean, the house isn't there to go, hey, let's go do this now. So you got to look at these long haul ship things as kind of the same thing of being at home, just with a different scenery. Find things that you want to do, but better than being at home is you don't have to cook. You don't have to clean. You don't have to clean up after yourself after you cook. You can just enjoy that time.
And there's a lot of other activities up on upper decks 12 and 13.
Karaoke, the piano bar.
You've got the sports. Movies. You got basketball court up there. You have
trivia.
They play soccer. They play soccer
Tons
contests.
Of stuff.
What's the thing where you toss the cornhole and just so many different things on there. So you It'd be hard to stay bored on the ship if unless you just really trying.
There is really plenty to do. So if you think a lot of sea days are intimidating or you're going to just be bored, if you're bored, that's really your fault.
Yeah.
I mean, really and truly, that's your fault because it is your responsibility.
Unfortunately, I've been cursed with being a walking party, so it is what it is.
Oh my. Okay, so day 12. Day 12 was again another sea day. So that's a Sunday. So day 12, which also thankfully lines up with May 12th. So we didn't even have to think about number of days versus calendar days. So day 12 was May 12th. So there you go. So we had another sea day there, Monday the 13th, sea day. Now, by the 14th of May, we hit our third port, but we were already in Spain at this point. So the whole trip, it didn't go by fast while we were experiencing it. I feel like the days didn't rush by. We really got to enjoy the days, and of course I did work all the other days that were sea days during the middle of the week. So mine was cut a little bit short, but they tried to engage me as much as they could and not forget about me.
Brought her food,
Brought me food.
Kept her fed, make sure she didn't get
Pass out.
in trouble with anybody. Make sure she stayed in line.
Yeah. So like I said, while we were living it, it didn't feel rushed, and everybody had a great time. We had so much interaction with our friends, and like you said, the new people that we'd meet. But nothing felt rushed. But then by the time day 14 came around and we realized,
oh my God, it's almost over.
We'd been on the ship for 2 weeks, and then it felt like it went by fast after the fact because we didn't want it to end.
Right.
So then we had the port there in Spain. So that was Malaga. M-A-L.
Malgada?
Malgada?
I don't know. Malgada?
Our Spanish is no bueno.
Malaga, maybe.
Malaga. M-A-L.
Sounds good. Malaga, Spain.
So we did get off at this port. It was our intention to get off at every port, but that didn't quite work out, and we'll talk about that on the next one. So we got here, and it was a nice port. We actually did an excursion at the last port, the Azores, but on this one we didn't do an excursion. We just got off as a group. And we had some funny stories on that. But yes, we got off as a group and kind of just did some exploring on our own, and then we went back to the ship and we got on and just kind of chilled the rest of the day. So it was good, but it wasn't like overly stressful.
Right.
We didn't try to pack a whole lot in that day. Now the next day is Valencia, and that was May 15th. By this time, our 15th day on the cruise ship.
Was it 15th? Maybe it was.
Yeah. So we were initially going to get off with our friends and just do another little walkabout again, but we decided we were tired. We were tired, and we had the next day that we were going to have to get off the ship, and I actually did work a little bit on the port days after all, just so my work didn't get too far behind. So I did work a couple hours. Then I think we did a video on the 15th while we were sitting there. And we just wanted to chill. So we actually passed up on Valencia. We figured we'll be back because at this point we'd already decided we're absolutely doing this again.
Fortunately for us, all the folks who did go that were with us, we didn't miss much.
Yeah, that was the other thing. They did an excursion, and apparently it was not impressive at all. So we're glad we didn't pay for that excursion. So that one, like I said, was pretty chill. So by the 16th day, that's whenever we got to Barcelona, Spain. And of course, that morning, we'd already packed up our suitcases the night before, so that way they could take them off for us. And that morning was comfortable, and it was chill. But you know what?
It wasn't rushed either.
But it was sad.
Yeah, it was.
We weren't expecting to feel that way. We weren't. Normally, we're like, okay, well, next, but we're usually home. Again, the round trip. So we go home, and so we're thinking about everything that we got to do to get home. And in this case, we were looking forward to our time in Barcelona, but at the same time, we were really sad to leave the ship. Yeah. It felt like we were living there.
And that was probably the first time we've ever felt like that.
Yeah, and me, I'm more sentimental. I am much more sentimental than he is. He's like, yeah, whatever, let's just go next. But even he felt it, and he mentioned it, I think, before I mentioned it.
I was like, man,
he's like, this is weird. This is weird. We don't want to go. It's like... It was really kind of, and I think everybody felt that to an extent, especially the people that were just doing it for the first time. Right. Now our friends are here with us. We had a group of about 15, 16 people between friends and friends by extension.
Right.
that we were all hanging out pretty much the whole time, on and off. But we all kind of went our separate ways, except for one couple and us, and we're in this Airbnb in Barcelona. So we had them to go, okay, we're going to take them and we're going to do our next little adventure here. But it was sad to see all of our other friends going in their opposite directions. Some were flying home right
fortunately,
away.
we'll see them. You know, they're all, a lot of them were from Houston or
in their area. So we'll see them again. We're going to get together and do a post-trip dinner, so that will be great. We're going to do a little potluck.
Show you some of that good food we
get everybody together. Oh God! Speaking of the food, so getting to this food on this trip, we're gonna talk about the food on the cruise ship and the food in Barcelona. But overall, like I said, the biggest takeaway for me was just how I thought that I would like it, but I liked it even more than I thought that I would. We were very fortunate that the seas were not rough. I mean, like I said, just a couple little days that we had a little bit of movement. Other than that, we didn't have any major issues. Right. Now, if we would have had some rocking and rolling and some major storms, that would have put a little bit of a damper on some of it.
Like back in Houston.
Yeah, right. But I don't think that it would have dissuaded us from doing it again, because you can't control nature. Nature's going to happen if you go through a storm. That's just part of cruising. But you can't say, I hate cruising because I might go through a storm. That's like saying, I'm not going to leave the house because I might trip and fall, or I might get in a car accident. Yeah. So you can't hate cruising just because you might hit a storm. And so I don't think that would have dissuaded me. But it was such a great experience. And we're definitely looking forward to the next one. We're going to be planning some more trips like that.
Yep.
So that's pretty much it. I think that's our general overview of Transatlantic. Don't let them scare you.
Nah.
We did have some people on the trip that had never
first heavy cruised before.
Ever. Yeah. And I'm like, ooh, that's aggressive. Yeah. That's commitment. Those people that get on a Transatlantic one way, 15 nights for their very first cruise, hats off, because no, that was not me. I wasn't going to do that kind of commitment.
But look at it this way: they probably had as much fun as we did, and they did it in their first term.
Because I've met people on 5-night cruises that said they hated it. First time cruising, they'd never do it again. We didn't meet a single person on this cruise that didn't enjoy the Transatlantic, that didn't say that they would want to do it again, including the first time cruiser. Right. So that really just kind of says a lot for the way the whole vibe of the ship was. Yeah, I think it was incredible.
It was incredible.
So anyway, so we're going to be doing some more videos about different things, different topics from this trip. We've got a lot of content. I think that we really want to delve into more specifically, and hopefully you guys will stick around. Please like and
subscribe.
Yes, and have our little baby channel grow. It needs to get bigger. We appreciate everybody that's been along so far, and if anybody makes it to the end of these videos, because if you look at the analytics, it's like average watch time 1 minute 30 seconds, and I'm like, okay, it was a 20-minute long video, so they missed a whole lot. So if you stay to the end, thank you. But that's it. So we'll see what happens.
Those.
Bye. If you've ever thought about doing it, well, we're telling you, we're gonna. No, hang on, fuck that. Hang on, go back.
Language.
I won't put that in the bloopers. Hi.